right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks, to a Marcus Freeman is at a crossroads in his Notre Dame tenure edition of the Always Irish Show. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Johnny out as well. Notifications on that way you alerted every time a new episode drops. I know you don't want to miss it. Twitter. Search bar Always Irish Rat. Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysirishhandy@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want it. You can get it. Don't forget about those call-in lines. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen, even if you don't like it. Instagram, Facebook, Always Irish Inc. USA Today, Irish Wire. Read all about it. Patreon.com/Always Irish. Former Notre Dame linebacker captain Mike Goolsby and myself breaking down Notre Dame stuff. Unedited, raw. NDSubwayalumni.com. Visit, get your loved ones some Christmas stuff. Be a part of the community here, the Subway alums that support Notre Dame nationwide and worldwide. Love being partners with them. Link in the description. Go check out what they have. Great guys over there. All right. So, it's been a very rocky up and down start for Marcus Freeman as Notre Dame's head man. Some of this is normal. Some of it's timing and circumstance. Some of it's just tough learning lessons, like whatever you want to call it. There's been a lot of ups and downs, and they haven't been like medium level. They're really high highs and really low lows. And so when you consider it all, the ups and downs, as we're winding down 23 and looking forward, where does this put us? As we consider what the answer may be, this is where Notre Dame history comes into play. All diehard regulars probably don't know it, but the diehards know what year 3 means for Notre Dame coaches that eventually get over the hump. And I understand some of that's random. Some of that says that there's something to it, with like year 1, getting your feet set, year 2, making a bunch of calibrations, and then year 3, you're ready to go. Year 3's been a big year historically for Notre Dame coaches. Even Swamp Thing had a good third year. Of course, it ended in humiliation on and off the field. Total humiliation on it, total humiliation off of it, with Kelly going to the NFL rumors the week of the title game and Manti Te'o's fake girlfriend being the motivator of the whole Notre Dame season. Like, that's the ultimate truth here, is that even in a year where Kelly went 12-0 and it literally went perfect, it still ended in total humiliation in every way possible. In case you want to know how that went. In the best circumstances, total humiliation. You can't make it up. That's the Notre Dame shit ever. Even in the guy's greatest year, it ended in total embarrassment. Unbelievable. Such is our lot in life, I guess. So, what are some things Freeman must have in mind as he tries to navigate the position he finds himself in? Number 1, big picture. Freeman's got to know accurately. It can't be a perception. He needs to know for sure what parts of this team are trending up, what parts of this team are trending down, on the field and off of it. That includes recruiting. That includes development. That includes proper depth. And most importantly, that includes the production you're getting on the field from all of these units and everybody involved. This has to be honest and objective and accurate introspection on all of these items. This isn't a time for emotions. This is not a time for the buddy system. This is not a time for protecting feelings. Big decisions have got to be made, turning the page from this year into next. And I know most people are looking at the offensive side of the ball for that. These are big decisions, folks. Number 2. This one's a little more nuanced. And I'd love to hear what you guys think about it. Is Marcus's vision for the program set in stone, or is it adaptable? He said, I want to be when he took over the program, I want to be an O-line and a D-line driven program. And that sounds old school, football-y enough. A defensive player, a hard-nosed guy, old school, trestle ball, whatever. Here's my response to that, though. Obviously, Notre Dame people are going to like the way that sounds. O-line, D-line driven. You're thinking tough O-line, tough D-line, all that stuff. Power running the ball and cracking people up front, all that. I get it. But if you want to be an O-line and D-line driven program in the modern era where people are getting the ball out in 1 second and fast everything and spread it out and do all, if you want to do it this way, fine. But those units are not elite enough at Notre Dame to be the engine of a reliable program, a consistent program. That's the issue I have with this. If you're going to kind of not be with the modern offensive trend to be more O-line, D-line driven type stuff, fine. You got to be elite at those areas then. If that's going to be your engine of your mentality and your drive, those units have to be elite, and they're not. They're not. So then you're telling me what you want to drive the program isn't elite. I can't live with that. You either need to get those units to be elite or change your philosophy to be a little more modern and open to what puts up points now around the country. And it ain't what we're trying to do. I tell you that right damn now. So that's the issue when I hear O-line and D-line driven. They're not good enough to be the driver. They're not. The O-line's gotten his ass beat multiple times this year. Now, the D-line has held their own pretty well this year. The defense isn't the reason we're losing, but that unit's not elite either. They don't have that big guy in the middle that's clogging up running lanes, pushing the pocket, sucking up space and blockers. And they certainly don't have the other thing any elite D-line unit has is monsters coming off the edge, killing the quarterback. Not one, two, both edges. Beasts. You ain't got that. So if you want to be O-line and D-line driven, great. But those units have to be elite, and they're nowhere near good enough. The interior of Notre Dame's O-line is not good. Not good. And not good enough. And at D-line, I give them credit. Howard Cross, great year. Motor that never stops, all that. Riley Mills and all that. You ain't winning a championship or playoff games with that D-line, no. You're not. You couldn't beat Louisville and barely beat Duke with these units. Get serious about where you're at. Not elite. Not good enough. So if that's what you want to drive your program, I'm fine with it. But those units have to be plus units. Neither one of them are to me. Don't get me triggered on O-line U. What a joke. Notre Dame's offensive line has never been the reason they succeed in any big game. The biggest games with everything on the line. Don't cite me something that I'm going to be able to say that is not what I mean by the biggest of the biggest game. Dominating Ohio State, running them over. That would have qualified. I'm just sorry. It's just those units are not elite. And they got to be if you want them to be the drivers of your team. So regarding the offensive philosophy, he wants to run it. I get all that. But is that opinion steadfast, permanent? Or is some of that Freeman looking at what he inherited and what he had and what the team had to be to make it work? When he took over the program, it wasn't possible for him to go, oh, we're going to open it up and try and be more electric on it. You didn't have the personnel that would allow you to do that. All he could try and do is have a good running game and use the tight end. So I'm just wondering if that could shift a little bit, if he has more material to work with and has more options, or if this is just what it's always going to be and what he wants it to be. And again, I'm not saying the philosophy's wrong, but you have to be elite to win with it in the modern age. And you're not good enough at any of those units. I'm sorry. I mean, methodical 14-play drives that are required to score points, they don't cut it in the modern age. You need to be able to score fast, to blow people out, build a cushion, or come back on somebody. Think about when you watch Notre Dame play offense. Your mind as a fan isn't even, I wonder if we could crack this next pass play for a touchdown of 50 yards or flip the field with a 40-yard play or whatever. That isn't even in a Notre Dame fan's mind because it never happens. You're begging we could find a way to get another first down and inch our way down the field 3 feet at a time, 15 plays in a row. That's not modern football. And the only way you win like this big picture is if you're dominant at it. Because you're eating up the clock and you're scoring 7. And then you're playing good defense. Then you're eating the clock, scoring 7. We don't do that. You got to be good at the right things to make this work. And we're not. So it blows my mind how quick other teams, 2 passes and they flip the field and they're in the scoring zone again. You watch us and it's just like you got to string together a dozen plays to get into the the red zone on the other side. That's not modern football. And also, what are the odds on? You got a bunch of athletes around here. Are the odds better? You can hit on one pass play and gain 40 yards. Or that you're going to be perfect, methodically driving down the field for 12 or 13 or 14 plays where everything goes right. You have no holding penalties getting you off schedule. And you're stringing together all these plays that work. It just seems to me flipping the field, getting one guy open and throwing him a crossing pattern's a better number on the odds than us having 12 or 13 plays all work together in a row against elite opponents. The odds of that are not good. They're not good that you could tie those all together, enough of them, enough times in a game to do what you need. So I'm just saying, in the modern era, the teams you see winning, they're capable of scoring fast. We don't do that. We're not capable of doing that. And we don't score slow either. So now you're in a real bad spot. We don't score on quick strikes, big plays. And we don't score when we're trying to just do the running thing, putting drives together. So where does that leave you? Maybe with better personnel, this could adapt a little bit. I'm not saying to give up the run game. That's always the other thing I struggle with when people are like, what do you want? The pass happy, throw it all over, air raid. You want to be soft and not power run the ball. Why does it have to be one or the other? Why can you not pick your spots? And when you need a power drive, run a power drive to run out the clock, run out of half, run out of game, whatever you want to do. And then when you need to, be able to try and take some deep shots and have some exciting ways to flip the field fast and score points. Why can't it be both? Doesn't have to be one or the other. Be capable of doing both. And it's like, it's just really frustrating. But that philosophical thing, I need Freeman to figure it out. If it's going to be the O-line, D-line stuff, they got to be elite. If that's your engine, it has to be an elite engine. So that's my issue with the philosophy right now. Thirdly, the inconsistency here is beyond what I consider like normal range. Football coaches love consistency. It helps them sleep at night. knowing what you're going to get, even if it's bad, consistent, like at least knowing what you're going to get. Coaches love consistency. And on the high end, on the good end, Notre Dame has none. They have no consistency. Huge ups, huge downs. You never know what you're going to get. You never know when they're going to show up or not. You never know when they're going to look put together or not. That'll put a coach in an early grave. How in the hell do you balance this out? What causes the situation where for the whole year, nobody knows whether you're going to show up to play or not? You can't live that way. That's a coach killer. You can't exist that way. So is this coaching, preparation, game planning, the players performing? Is it just mentality? Notre Dame's 3-3 over the last 6. That's not good enough. That's horrifying. They're 3-3 over their last 6. That ain't good enough. That is the hallmark of inconsistency. Freeman certainly not. When you look at like where he's at overall, he's certainly not way ahead of schedule from where we all wanted him to be. He ain't. After this year, can't be. Nobody could say that. I'm not sure that he's way behind either, to be honest. I'm not sure that he's way behind. In the way it looks, it feels worse than the results, I think, if you're just looking at 2 years. But one thing's for sure, changes are needed. Adjustments are needed. Practically, philosophically, mentally, whatever. Big decisions are coming down the road here about the offensive coordinator, about the strength coach. Nobody forget, you got to replace Bayless and figure that out. That's a big deal. Those hires got to be handled correctly. This calibration moment, like time period for Freeman's going to come to an end. And he's got to make the right decisions. The fans want Freeman to succeed. But you could feel the margin of leeway shrinking with the fan base. You could feel that I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt to work through stuff. You could feel that leeway margin with the fans. It's being reeled in. It's shrinking. They want the guy to succeed. They loved hugging him on the 50 after the Clemson game last year and the USC game this year. Like, the fans want the guy to win. They want him to succeed. But also, we're getting through year 2 now, wrapping up year 2, getting into year 3. Expectations are tightening up. Leeway, margin. It's shrinking. In no way are we in a hot seat and, oh, what do we need to get rid of? That is not what I'm saying. I'm just talking about in Notre Dame fans' hearts and minds, that margin of error they're willing to deal with and give the benefit of the doubt without making a huge deal of everything that isn't great. That leeway's shrinking, and it is for me too. I'm a Freeman guy, want him to succeed. He's got all those personality things I think would be great, but I need better results. I don't care how good of a guy I think you are. Eventually, I got to see it on that record reflected or we have a problem. Doesn't matter how much I love you personally. Doesn't matter how good of a guy you are. I think you treat people right. Your work ethic, I need results that match it or we have a problem. That's just this business. That's just this business. So it's really time for Marcus to get serious and start pulling this all together. It just feels a little bit disconnected and discombobulated right now with where you're at. You have some parts of this team excelling, playing winning football for the most part, and you have others that have fallen off a cliff going the wrong way. So you got to start pulling it together. This next batch of decisions, I'm not trying to be dramatic. I'm looking at the scoreboard. This next batch of decisions could very well be the batch that are going to determine if Freeman rises at Notre Dame to be a perennial playoff, in the playoff hunt and contending, or if he's going to be a good DC again. Like, it's that serious. You can't afford to go into next year with an offense that runs like, looks like, or operates anything like what you have right now. You can't do it. I mean, he could do it, but he might be a DC in another year. You can't. You got to get serious about having a real offense in Notre Dame. And I've only said that for the past 30 years.